It's a beautiful day outside, and it's a beautiful day inside. I sound like a weather woman. They're winterizing the Shell Outdoor Theater, and the lights and sound equipment have moved back indoors for our indoor season.
It may still be in the upper 80s outside, but it's coat weather indoors. Amazing Technicolor dream coat weather. And no one wears a Technicolor dream coat better than Joseph of Egypt.
Ooh. On this episode of the SCERA Spotlight podcast, we are going back to Egypt just 6 months after Aida to what, Quinn?
Revisit the tale of an outsider and outcast who became a legendary figure in the Bible.
And on stage.
I wonder if the real Joseph ever saw that coming. This is the SCERA Spotlight Podcast, a close look at and celebration of the arts at the SCERA Center for the Arts and the SCERA Shell Outdoor Theater and beyond.
This is episode 56, and it's all about Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is just 1 week away as we record this with opening night set for Friday, September 13th. Ooh.
How unfortunate that the Addams Family didn't open on Friday the 13th.
Right? That would have been good.
Gets that.
Remember those days?
Oh, yes, I do. Hey, today we are actually in the theater as the cast and crew is right in the middle of Tech Day. They're taking a break now, but you see Chase behind us, our tech guy, sound and light guy, and Ellie Powell is down there. We're going to talk with her in a minute and find out about her job. She's the stage manager for the show. It is the Saturday before opening day. And Tech Day here is a marathon of rehearsing, connecting, testing, adjusting, readjusting, tweaking all the little things to make sure it's all right.
It's a long, grueling day. Oh. The cast and crew are here from morning to night with only a little bit of a midday break. Stress and pressure can be high, nerves can be frazzled, and sometimes there's crying.
Just a little.
But mostly the eating of food, which seems to make everyone feel a whole lot better.
You didn't ugly cry. We don't have ugly crying on
I
Tech Day.
ugly cry.
You go to the bathroom and find a closet and you're very discreet.
Where they go like this.
It's okay. Actually, I love Tech Day. It's the one day where we're here all stinking day. Usually, rehearsal is the last part of your day.
It is stinking day after we've been doing choreography all day.
I love being here all day, and I think Tech Day is great for that reason. It's also the day where I learn a lot by watching the crew and the costumers and the directors do their thing. There may be a fair amount of standing around and waiting, but for some of us nerds, that means it's an opportunity to soak up all the learning that there is to learn here.
Well, and speaking of learning new stuff, we had an awesome opportunity today on Saturday to have a workshop or a class with Thomas Hergenroether and Manuela Bolegue, who came to teach the street dance class here at the SCERA. It was a free class. We had a 10 o'clock class and a 1 o'clock class, and it was a lot of fun. And we just happen to still have them here, and they're willing to come talk to us for a little bit about Battle of the Year, how Thomas got that going, and Manuela's experience in dancing and winning dancing and judging at those battles. So it'll be fun to have them here.
And I'm going to learn what street dancing is.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping that you'd shut down State Street. That didn't happen. That's okay.
It should have.
It
For
should
these
have.
guys, it should have shut down State Street.
Well, we'll do what we got to do.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it.
Okay, let's do it.
Come on.
Okay, so I am lucky enough to be friends with these two amazing world-famous people. So over here we have Manuela Bolegue. Is that how I said? Okay.
Yeah.
And she is part of the Zamunda crew from France. And so she's been very involved in something that Thomas founded in 1991.
No, 1990.
1990. I was a year off. And he founded that. And so Manuela has been able to compete in the Battle of the Year and actually won. Which years was that?
2008.
Ooh.
Yeah. The bigger competition.
Yeah, it's a very big competition. It's a worldwide competition, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to have these two come and talk to us for a couple minutes, just so that we could learn more about b-boying or breaking, which is something that's not terribly well known here in Utah County, but Utah also. And you never know. You guys could learn some new choreography moves. I'm just saying. So, Thomas, if you could tell us a little bit about why you founded the Battle of the Year? Like, what was it that brought that about for you? Or you can tell us, Tio. Either way, this is Tio, their son, by the way. I forget that we're on film, and he's just taking the show. Let's all just,
So I got into breaking 1984, 1983, when the first fashion wave hit Europe. And
Here, get there. You can play with my microphone.
this first big wave lasted maybe like 2 years, and then from one day to the other, like nobody was dancing anymore, and everything fell apart. And I could never understand why, because for me and my crewmates, it was always something special, and we did not understand why it should be over. So it took us a couple of years to look for other people, because at that time there was no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. So it took a while to find other people still doing it. And when we found out there's people in Switzerland, in Austria, in England still doing it, we said, okay, why don't we do an event? Trying to A, bring it back, and B, show the public that breaking was more to us than just a fashion.
Yes.
And that was the basic motivation to start the event.
Well, and I have to say, when I met you and got to know more about Battle of the Year, my impression that I had learned growing up was that they were kind of gangsters. It was kind of like the bad guy group, And I think that's what I love about what you've done. You've really changed the face of that and shown that they're athletes and that these guys may be coming from a tough background, but that doesn't make them, bad people or whatever. So I love that.
That was kind of the motivation. I mean, because like I saw how the skills and how much time the dancers invested into their hobby or whatever they loved. But in the end, it ended always in nothing, so they had no opportunity. So the Battle of the Year is one of the only competitions which have a choreography in the first round. So the crews have to really work on theme with music, sometimes costumes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because through this, I was thinking they might have the chance to end up on dance theater stages, maybe in Hollywood movies or whatever.
And they certainly have.
And that was like 30 years ago. And nowadays, I mean, even already like 10, 15 years ago, we were like, I would say successful, because now you have everything. You have Hollywood movies with breakers. You have like there's talent shows where breaking is shown, like America's Got Talent and all this stuff. So it's kind of what my idea was without knowing in the beginning. It kind of worked out. And today you have like a big scene worldwide in Mongolia, Nepal, in every country, Africa. And there's so many events, so you really can choose where you want to go depending on the format.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
It's amazing how many lives have changed. And amazing to me, like when I watch a movie and I'm like, I think I remember Thomas talking about this guy who's dancing. It's amazing how many people it does involve. So my next question is for Manuela. For you, how did, you were part of this Zamunda crew, but you started in another group before that?
Yeah, of course.
And so what got you further along in it?
But me, I grew up in Grenoble, in France, at my aunt, and all my cousins. They are already fully in this movement, hip hop. So they are rapping, graffiti, breaking. So they are into it. So when I was there, I just followed the movement, and they have a crew who calls Figure de Style. So, but I was just naturally part of this crew because
it was your family.
Yeah, it was my family. So yeah, it's really my roots. I don't know how to to say. So
That's exact.
It's this. So I start with them. So they teach me everything, the base, everything, and I start with a different kind of style. I was not directly breaking. I start with top dance, like locking, new style, everything.
Okay. And so for any of you guys who might not be catching all this, it's not just her accent that might be hard to understand. These are all different kinds of dancing. And this is something that I've learned, like the low keying, there's a lot of different stuff that I didn't realize was involved in this. So just for our audience, I just wanted to make sure you guys know that this is some of the dancing that they have in this hip hop world.
Yeah.
So
there is a lot of different style, I would say, popping, locking, house dance and everything. So yeah, and after I was specializing.
Specializing?
Yes, specializing myself in breaking. So, and then I start to be to practice hard, and and then to do some competition, and but I won in 2008.
Yeah.
The Battle
So
of
what?
the
How
Year
did you
with
find out about Battle of the Year? Is that
My-
like something
my-
you
my-
just know
No,
if
but
you're
it's
in this
my
world?
my cousins, because they all have the old tape, you know, because
Oh, yeah.
before, like Thomas said, there is no YouTube and everything. So with one cassette
Cassette
videotape,
tape, yeah,
yes,
videotape. Mhm.
they are watching it again and again and again, and sometimes we practice home, and I know this. I know the Battle of the Year through my cousin, and of course when everybody in France and all over the world, I think it was really the aim to be one day on this stage and to say, okay, I did it. So yeah, when we practice, we did the crew battle also several times in France, the competition with figure de style. So yeah, everybody was practicing for this event. So yeah,
That was the thing to do. It was
yeah. Even today, you know. Even,
Yeah, I've been really impressed too. Mark, my husband, and me have had the opportunity to meet some of the people that have been involved in Battle of the Year and in the breaking hip hop world. I'm amazed, like honestly, at the humility of everyone that I've met. I mean, you know, there's always a few of those, but I've really been impressed with the humility. I mean, you guys, I was friends with Thomas for years before I knew how famous he was. Let's just he's not one to toot his own horn. And yes, that is a phrase, Manuela. And Manuela the same way. I mean, a worldwide, you know, she's won world competitions, she's judged at them, and she's as humble as can be. And I think that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people outside of your guys' world understand. I don't think they realize how hard you guys have worked to get to where you are, how much you've put into it. And so the last question I have, and I hope both of you will answer that, is what would be your advice to youth, or even maybe someone who's, you know, my age, maybe not so much. Anyway, but to the youth, what would your advice be in trying to get started in this, or being able to find a way to get started in this kind of thing here in Utah, especially? Like, what would be your advice?
Yeah, it's not easy to say. As far as I know, Utah has not the biggest scene. So, I mean, you have to take your opportunity you have. Maybe you are able to travel to one of the events in the US you have. Mm-hmm. Because you have quite a lot. There's a big one in Seattle every May. There's a big one in November in Los Angeles. So Las Vegas has some competitions. Ronnie is a famous guy. He has his own dance studio there. I just learned that in the beginning of October there's freestyle session qualifier here in Salt Lake City.
Here in Salt Lake, that's awesome.
Yeah, so during the workshop we had today, I really encouraged everybody to come. And if you have the opportunity to meet, for example, Cross One, the promoter, because we all promoters and dancers, we are very open to everything, most of us. So, like, as I met this young lady today at the workshop with her son, and
awesome.
she's having obviously like a breaking school for kids here.
Mm-hmm. Breaking
and
circles, yeah.
Yeah, and I connected with her, so for sure we stay in touch, and I will try to like connect her with local people, like maybe not from Utah, but somebody else can come and teach the kids. So you should like look for opportunities, look for events, and go online.
Yeah.
But our advice, I would say, I can speak for Manuela too, is like really you have to experience it live.
Yeah.
I
Don't
agree.
go only online. You have to exchange with people. The whole culture we are living is with talking, exchanging, learning from each other live. And
It's
this
like
is what you
family.
have to
It
do.
really is. It was
It's
interesting to go. We had the opportunity to go to a competition in Las Vegas, and that was when my eyes were really open, and I was just like, wow, everybody's like really close here. We want to, you guys want to help each other and help people get involved.
It's a big community, so we are kind of connected, and
you support each other. It's not like, even though it's called a battle, it's not really
It's
a
meant in a
battle.
positive way.
it's part of the thing.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But,
You guys, it's fun when we watch some of the battles going on. It's fun to see them battling out and dancing, but then shaking hands right afterward. They're like, "That's a good move," and that was also, you know, it's neat to see that. So
yeah, because I think today it's really like it's one community. We kind of all know who is who, so we met one time in some event, and sometimes we share stuff together. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a big family, but of course you can find some
Yeah, there's
Yeah, it's human.
That's
so
how it goes. We're
it's
human.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
But-
you're
but-
saying to get involved by being able to go to some of these as close
Yeah.
as they can
You
get.
see, no, or like the minimum you can do is like, even if you have no connection outside Orem, Salt Lake, or Provo, wherever you are here in Utah, you will have some friends who have the same passion.
Yeah.
So practice with your little crew,
Yeah. I
and
love it.
maybe talk to one of your parents, and they will drive you to another event, and there you connect with the next people, and the next and the next. So that's how it goes. It takes a little effort. It was different in my time when I started it. That was normal.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, everything is served. But it's also part of the game that you have to go through the struggle,
there in
and
person.
that makes you stronger. And
This
then
is not an iPhone experience, guys, okay? It is a in-person
yeah.
experience to really, truly feel it. Yes, you can watch YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, but honestly, in fact, one of the girls we had come today to our class, she had told me she'd learned everything from YouTube. But to see her, like, come out of her shell today, because she came from the YouTube watcher, which was, you know, like this,
Yeah, yeah.
to like she was getting
Yeah,
going
I
and she
was
was
really
having fun.
surprised.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's really important, like you said, to really involve yourself. But I appreciate you guys being with us today, especially, I mean,
welcome.
all the way from
It's fun.
Germany and France,
France.
by the way. So we really, really appreciate it. And I don't even think people even know how lucky we are to have them here at the SCERA speaking with us. So we're pretty blessed that way. And so thanks, guys. We appreciate it. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Ellie Powell is here, and I'm so excited because Ellie is one of the coolest people I know. I don't even know how long I've known you, but it's been at least
Wow.
4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
Since Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins, 2015.
And Ellie comes from a great theater family of at least one other person. I don't know about your parents or other siblings, so you're going to have to fill us in on that. It's like
Yeah.
a big theater family.
So my mom did it a little when she was like growing up and in high school. And then me and my sister did it growing up. And Krista, she's already been on the podcast before. She's my sister. And she did shows in college, and then she came to the SCERA. And then when I was 15, she brought me along, and I did Mary Poppins with Quinn. It
You were
was-
only 15 then?
Yeah, I was 15. It's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. So, like, any of you who are going into theater, this is what you have to keep up with. She starts when she's 15. I was going to say that's insane, but it's actually very smart because
Yeah.
you're learning young when you can learn fast.
Oh, definitely. I'm so young. I have still a lot to learn.
So are you hooked right away, or are you thinking, what is this theater thing? This is weird.
I loved it right away. I remember opening night of Mary Poppins was one of the best nights of my life. Like, there's just nothing like theater magic. It was just so amazing to, like, put on a show and, like, you just, like, there's nothing else that matters, it felt like, in that moment. It's just a show and creating theater magic, and I loved it so much.
Agreed. Now, I know you've been, like, during Mary Poppins, you were working backstage, and you were helping with Fly System some, weren't you? Or was
So,
it?
yeah, I was backstage. I was ASM and deck crew. And, yeah, I
Explain
just...
what ASM is?
Assistant stage manager.
There we go.
Yep. So I just helped run the stuff backstage and coordinates like when quick changes happen and scene changes. They had other fly crew. I'm really small, so I wasn't able to run the fly rail. But yeah, just ran backstage and helped with quick changes for like Mary Poppins and stuff like that.
Probably dispensed more mic tape than you ever thought you would.
Oh yeah. Like if you ever run a show with me, I always have like mic tape on my pants.
And
Like it,
and residue all over
it's
your
everywhere.
fingers.
Yeah.
So have you always been on the crew side, or have you also done performances?
So I did it performances when I was really little. But then when I did Mary Poppins, this was what I loved, and so I stuck with it. Never really loved the performing side, but like when I ran that show, it just all clicked, and I loved it.
Yeah. I'm kind of jealous because that's something I've wanted to do more of, and it seems like you kind of have to pick it up when you're young. Like, I don't know many people my age that are doing the tech side unless they've done it all their life.
Oh yeah.
And I'm jealous because you get to work with so many people, especially now. I didn't explain. Ellie's the stage manager
Oh yeah.
for, forgive me, I'll make sure it gets in the intro.
You're good.
But she's the stage manager for Joseph.
Yep.
And you are involved from beginning to end. Like, now, are you chosen by the director? Does the director call you up and say, hey, will you be my stage manager, or how's it work?
So the CEO actually will talk to the director. So Adam will talk to the directors and say, who would you like? And then from there, he'll like see who's available. And then he called me and was like, hey, it's Joseph, would you like to stage manage it? And I was like, yes.
And this is your first show where you've actually been lead stage manager,
No,
right?
so I've actually stage managed Big River last summer.
Oh, you did?
So I was a stage manager then, and I'm
Oh, I
also
didn't realize that.
Yep. So I'm also the production stage manager for Utah Dance Film Festival.
Okay.
So I've done a
So you
couple
work with
gigs.
Tyne.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Super cool. Well, who was also in Mary Poppins too?
Yep. Tyne was Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And then you're not even, I mean, you're barely in your 20s.
Yeah, I just turned 20 like a month ago.
That's astonishing.
Yep.
So you're involved in everything. Like the performers, we get to talk with costume people a little bit and music people, of course, a lot. But that's about it. And you get to talk with costumers and tech people, sound people, Adam, the producer, the director, the music director. You've got your hands in everything, which is cool, but it has to be kind of filled with pressure sometimes too.
It's a lot. I like to think of like the stage managers like the point that helps everything get together. So you have the directors, they want like a certain prop. The stage manager's the one who talks to the prop person to happen. Same thing, the choreographer's like, oh, I want this light change, and the stage manager's, okay, let me talk to the light person to make that happen. So I'm just like the person who's helping everyone make the show better and connecting all their points to make a beautiful show.
So, but then you also have to work with the directors, like the director has. They're like the artist, but you're kind of like the hand of the artist that makes it all happen, or the palette of the, I mean, I don't know, I'm just I like to make parallels, metaphors, and sometimes they don't work very well, but that's incredible. And I've seen the work that stage managers do. I think I've brought this up before, but usually a stage manager has this enormous binder of, I don't even know what all's in there. I mean,
mine's like
audition
4
forms,
inches.
That's what I know. And the script, of course. But you've got all kinds of crap in there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean disrespectful.
So much
it's
paperwork.
It's good crap, but it's...
Yep, a lot of paperwork. So actually, in my binder, I have a score. So if the director needs me to look at a certain note, I can go flip to the score. I have 2 scripts. I have a blocking script, which I have during rehearsals. And then I have my cue script, which is what I call a show from. So starting today's our first tech day. I'm going to start calling the show from my tech script, for my cue script, which is really fun. And then I just have like contact forms and just like schedules and how to like run things backstage smoothly. So like a flow chart, scene change charts, stuff like that.
And I think you've got a harder job than someone maybe who's doing this professionally, because if you're doing a professional show with professional performers, you're paying them, they're there, you've got them. And you're working with volunteers who all have lives outside of the theater. They all go to school or have work or are raising kids or are kids. And you have to work with a fair amount of unavailability, which is just expected in community theater. And you have to figure out how to get the people there most of the time and get the right people and not waste other people's time when they're not needed. I don't know how you do it. It's like air traffic control on steroids.
It's like a really intense game of Tetris. I actually really enjoy it. So what I'll do is I'll create like a conflict calendar, and then I'll base the rehearsal schedule around the conflicts.
Okay.
So I really enjoy it. It's really fun. And then I just go from there. Like I like to let the kids go at 10 o'clock. So I try and get, when we're in tech, I try and get everything kids-wise done before 10 o'clock.
PM.
Yeah. And then if we have to go past 10, I usually like just keep the adults so that they have early morning school and stuff like that. So I really enjoy the scheduling aspect of it. It's really fun.
Well, I'm glad you do, because it gives me a headache just thinking about it, but kudos. Something else that I've noticed particularly about you is you've got a knack for the technical stuff. I mean, you work with written directions and technology. You have to know computers and messaging and communications, but you're really good at working with people too. It's definitely a people job. And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
working with kids on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you were always comfortable with, or have you had to grow into it?
I love kids. I actually have a bunch of younger siblings, and so, like, I never, like, struggled with the kids because I just, like, fell right into it because I had younger siblings, and so I just, like, they just became a part of the show to me, and they're just as important as, like, the lead actors, I feel like. And so once they feel important, they're more than willing to help out, and they're so good. Like, the kids in Joseph are my favorite, and I love them so much. We have really good kids in the show.
I don't know a ton of them, but I know a couple of them
Mhm.
from Wizard of Oz last year, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
are stellar kids. They're
We
fantastic.
have good ones. Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about this thing called Tech Day. It's not really Tech. I mean, it's Tech Day because it's all day.
Yeah.
It's different. I mean, you're doing tech over several days, but this is the crunch day where you're trying to cram as much as you can with the cast. You got them for almost one whole day, and it's pretty much been the same every show I've been in. It's a Saturday right
it's a
before
Saturday,
opening,
yep.
and people talk about dreading it, but I think it's fun.
I think it's fun too. Like, Tech Week is really hard, and I just think it's really fun because you're adding all the elements together, and it just, like, makes a really beautiful show. So the Tech Day he was talking about is Saturday. So we usually start rehearsal at like 10 or 9, and we have set tech, which is where we go cue to cue from every scene change, and we just run them through and just, like, make them like a polish, and it just, like, adds that extra thing to the show that makes it really nice. And so we run that from like 10 to 2, then they have a 4-hour break, and then we'll come back and we'll run the show again tonight. Yep.
Amazing. And I'll stick this in too. Catherine Little and Howard Little, who are the directors of the show, they're not even here today. So Ellie's running everything. They've got a grandkid that they're bringing home, I guess, from the hospital. So they've got a great reason to not be here. And sometimes it happens. The directors can't be here, just like the performers can't be here. I think you're the only one who is not allowed to not be here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't be here, everything's called off. So, but that's amazing that you are running this whole thing pretty much, and you're 20.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Whoa. That's incredible. So tell me a little bit about this show in particular.
About the show.
Because we all know Joseph, but every Joseph's a little bit different.
Yeah.
This is the third time we've had Joseph here that I've counted. There may be more.
Yeah, so it's a really fun show. We've tried to, like, keep it traditional but still have, like, the fun little aspects, like One More Angel in Heaven is still the hoedown number and stuff like that, and we just try to, like, make it fit, and it's really fun, and if you come see the show, you'll really enjoy it. I enjoy watching it every night, and I've seen it for over a month now. So, like, I usually sometimes doing a show over and over again, it can get boring, but this is definitely a show that you can watch over and over again. There's still new fun things to watch, and it's really lovely, and I love it so much.
And I like big cast shows where you've got, I mean, any show is great, but I like the ones where you've got a lot of people, they're all singing together. The stage and the theater is filled with music. They're just singing the roof off and dancing up a storm. It's so much fun, and I know this show has that from what I've seen.
Yeah, so we have about 40 people in the cast, so it's a big cast for indoor, but it's a big show, and it's a lot, and it's so much fun.
Okay.
Brynn Hartley is joining us from the cast of Joseph, and Ellie invited her because, for reasons about which we are to find out, she's amazing, and she's a great spokesperson for the show. So, Brynn, tell us a little bit about how you got right here, right now, Tech Day at Joseph. Like, what led up to all this, including, like, how you got involved in theater?
Okay, well, the first time I was ever in a musical, it was just, like, at school, and I really, really liked it. And I was like, wow, I love this, but, like, I never really thought about it before. And then, like, I was like, I need an outlet, Mom. I really need an outlet. And an
outlet? That's not the normal thing that your kid says. I need an outlet. Usually it's just, I'm doing what I'm doing. Leave me alone. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, it was because, like, I had just, like, all my friends, they just, like, moved to different schools or moved to a different, like, state, and so I was kind of like all alone. And so I was like, I need something to do instead of just like sitting around and doing nothing at home. So I moved to a different school, and then I auditioned for the junior production of The Lion King for the like summer workshop thing. And I got Pumbaa, and it was super fun, and I had so much fun, and I just like fell in love with theater. Yeah,
Nice.
I did. It was super fun. I just fell in love with the theater, and then I've just been doing it ever since. I've been in General Ruckus, the SCERA theater here, and then we were watching a movie with my friends, and one of my friends was like, hey, do you want to audition tomorrow? And I was like, no, I don't want to, because I'm always like scared to go into auditions. But she convinced me to go in, so I went in the next day, and I just auditioned for this show, and now I'm here. So.
Okay, I'm going to jump off from that and ask Ellie. You were probably there when she auditioned.
I was.
Well, what were you thinking when Brynn auditioned, and what won you over and said, she's got to be in our show?
So I was sitting behind my table, and I have all the forms, and I remember Brynn was sitting there, and she told someone, she was like, this is my favorite show. I've been wanting to do this show for so long. Like, this is, like, I just love this show so much. And, like, the way she said it was so sincere. And I was like, I want her in my show.
Brynn, you poured it on thick. Well done. Well played.
My master plan.
So when we cast it, so I actually don't have any part in casting, but Catherine really liked her audition, and she got casted. But she won my heart before she was even casted.
Sweet. Well, you've had some time from audition until now. Tell me about what your rehearsals have been like, meeting new people, learning. Well, they're not new songs to you if it's your favorite show.
Yeah,
You probably knew them all.
Yep. I had all the colors memorized, and I was like super excited to be in the show. It was a really big time commitment, and still is. I'm really, really busy right now. But it's been super fun meeting all the people. It kind of like felt like starting over again. Like when I first came to this year, I didn't know like anybody here. But like then after a couple years in the youth programs, I knew like a lot of the directors, and I was really excited. And then I didn't like know any of them when I went into this show. So it kind of just like felt like starting over again. But it was still really fun. I met lots of really nice people, and everyone's so great. And I remember like the first time at rehearsal, I was just watching everyone perform. I was like, wow, this show is gonna be so good. And I was just like super duper excited. And
But you're also very fortunate because you get to work with Catherine and Howard Little, and they work with young people and older people. Very experienced. What do you think of your time with them?
They're so fun, and I love them so much. Like, I don't know. I was like, when I first auditioned, I was like, I get to audition for Catherine Little, and I'm so excited because she's like the director for Acting Up, and I want to be in Acting Up. I'm actually auditioning this year for that. It's just a high school group, and I was just like super excited to audition for her because she's like super cool in my opinion. And then like meeting her and like getting to work with her and her husband has just like been super fun, and like just watching them at work, just like they're really cool, and like they're geniuses when it comes to musical theater and like how everything works out, and it's just like super cool.
They're unusual too because it's not very often you have a husband and wife team directing. I've been in several shows and never one with Howard and Catherine. And this is something maybe you can talk a little bit about too, Ellie. How do they work together? How does that dynamic work when you're in rehearsal? Are they able to split up time with different parts of the cast?
No, what I really want to know is, do they bring the fights that they have at home to the show?
course
That's
not.
what I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
This is Rachel.
I mean, let's get down to the
Can't see her,
the
but
dark
she's
and dirty.
right here.
Yeah, so we actually, every single rehearsal, we went through and we were like, how can we most efficiently use our time? Because we have 6 weeks from opening of the show, from casting to opening. So those are really short rehearsal periods. So me and Catherine every week would go through and be like, okay, Howard's going to be blocking the children at this point. Catherine can take the brothers and the wives and sing them, and so they can be more prepared for blocking. And so we just like go through every week by week, trying to see how we can more efficiently use our time. And Howard did most of the blocking, and then Catherine would do the music direction, and then they would come in together, and together they would work together, be like, hey, this works better, let's, with the music and blocking, let's change it. Same thing with choreography. Brody would come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'd go through and just make it work. And then
Our friend Brody Ripple.
Yep, Brody Ripple.
Yeah.
He's turned into quite the choreographer. We have Shawnography. We need to come up with a name for Brody's choreography.
Yeah.
Rippleography?
Rip off. Rip off. That sounded terrible. Edit that out, will you?
Okay.
Okay.
No.
And I'm just the
stays in.
ghost voice coming from behind.
We'll get you in
I
here
am the
before you
SCERA
go.
ghost today.
Tell me, you've been very complimentary of the whole thing, but theater's hard. What's the challenging bits that you've run into, especially on this show? Or have there been any? It's been all
So, stage managing a show is really hard. As Quinn said, there's a lot of stuff going on. So it can be really stressful because, I have a regular day job too.
easy. Working.
I work at Vivint.
Okay.
And I work from 5 a.m. to 3:30.
Oh, wow.
Yuck.
And then I come here and I stage manage the show. And it's a lot of work because there's like tiny little details that you wouldn't think about when you're looking at a show. But like little things like safety issues. Like I have my cast run through all their lifts every single day before rehearsal. It takes time to figure out what points need to be like taken care of and stuff like that. And then just like going down to the little things like, is so-and-so's not going to be at rehearsal? How can we make sure that they get all the information they need? So it's a lot of little things, and it's really challenging, but it's so fulfilling, and I love it so much. And like Tech Week is even like more intense.
How about you, Brynn? What's challenging? What's challenged you about this show?
I guess just like the time. I mean, I haven't really like lost a lot of sleep, but like I've been more tired, I guess. The show isn't really challenging to me because I just have so much fun that I don't think about the challenging parts of it. I mean, it's definitely hard to like learn all the choreography, especially kind of like when you're not there or like you can't dance at the moment because you don't feel so well or something like that. It's kind of challenging to be able to catch up when you've missed a couple things. But when you're there, it's just like so fun and you don't mind like just being there. And it's just worth it to me to be able to like overcome all the challenges. And I've been really busy because I'm in like 3 productions right now, and
3.
yeah. And just it's lots of stuff that's going on, but like I've had just so much fun. Like sometimes you get stressed out, and then like other times you're just like, I just love life and I love this show and I'm just glad to be in it, and that's
So sometimes the hard part is leaving and going back to your normal life. Making air quotes.
Yeah.
Break a leg, I guess that's what you're supposed to say.
All right.
I almost said it. I almost said the thing that should not be said. Break a leg. Have a wonderful opening night
Have a
on
terrible
Friday.
opening night.
Friday the
It's Friday the
13th.
It is Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That's
Heck
gonna,
yeah.
it's gonna be the best Friday the 13th ever. With
Yep.
lots of safety.
So much safety.
Well, it's time for us to pack up, get out of here, and give these folks their space. Well, they're not even here. They left.
They're not
They
here
left
anymore.
too. They're coming
Everybody
back. though.
gave up on us.
They're coming back at 6. Like I said, it's the whole day. They all get
Oh,
a
that's
lunch
right.
/ dinner break. But
That's right.
Yeah, it's not over. It's not over till it's over, and it's not even close to over.
And till the fat lady sings, but I'm sorry guys, I will not be here tonight.
What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. Well, thank you to the cast and crew of Joseph for giving us some of their time, especially Ellie Powell. Hey, Ellie, you still here? She's not here either.
No.
Especially Ellie Powell. She helped us arrange all this. And
That was
that was
nice of her.
fantastic.
And we'd like to thank Thomas Hergenroether and Manuela Bolegue for coming to talk with us today. It was a very last-minute interview, and so we were glad they were able to join us.
They were so nice. They came here just for the podcast, all the way from Europe.
Yep, all the way from Europe. Well, sort of. The SCERA Spotlight is a production of the SCERA Corporation. And our appreciation to April Berlin and Adam Robertson for their administrative assistance.
You can find the SCERA Spotlight on SCERA's Facebook page, on iTunes, Google Play, and your favorite podcast mobile application, and at SCERA.org, where you can find more information on the podcast and on all the events at the SCERA Center. We'll be back shortly with a fun, fact, and history-packed episode with April Berlin and Lisa Pullum. who are going to tell us all about the amazing things that have been going on here while they've been on at the staff at the SCERA.
That's
They've
cool.
been here for decades. And they've been here longer than anybody else.
But they're so young, you'd never know.
True. And they have a lot of stories. I can't wait. I'm so excited already.
It'll
about
be
that.
fun.
I'm just excited I convinced them to do it.
Right? I know. That's amazing right there.
I mean, they're both very nice and willing.
Oh, they're nice. They just don't like
They're
being in the
unassuming.
limelight.
No, they work upstairs in the office
Yeah.
for reason. They like
Yeah.
to support, but
Yeah.
we're gonna make them front and center.
It's not
'cause
their
they've
cup
got
of
some
tea, you know what I'm
great
saying?
stories to tell.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
All right, so we can't wait to see you for that. But until then, we can't wait to see you.
See ya at the SCERA.
Oh, that
Let's try
timing
that
was off.
again. That was bad.
All right. See, this is one of those times you leave me. I don't know what to say. That's okay.